Aight, listen up, yo. This whole existential dread thing. It's just a poorly seasoned steak. You ain't gotta be stressed about nothing. The universe ain't some cold, hard ledger. It's more like a bodega. Full of unexpected finds, some good, some bad, but always something to look at. You gotta learn to appreciate the hustle, you dig?
Hold up. A bodega. That's surprisingly brilliant, Ayana. But let's add a little spice, a little flavor to this observation. Think about it, the stale bread, the questionable juice boxes, the grumpy clerk, that's the entropy of existence, my friend. It's the universe throwing a party and forgetting the RSVP. We gotta learn to laugh at the chaos, build a magnificent deep dish out of the discarded crust. Seriously, though, you're right about the hustle. It's like a perfectly crafted Italian sub, layers of intention and drive.
Man, Trey, you always bring on the drama. Drama. That's just your pizza dough rising too fast. Look, you fixated on the mess, I'm focused on the potential. That bodega ain't just about the wilted lettuce, it's about the connection. You see a guy buying lottery tickets. That's hope. A woman checking out the discount salsa. That's resilience. It's about the people, the energy of it all. You trying to overanalyze it like a Michelin inspector. Just feel it, you know.
Okay, chill, Ayana. You're right, I'm getting a little saucy. But let's be real, feel it. You wanna feel a rogue pickle jar crashing to the floor. That's the universe saying, look, I'm messing with you. But you got a point, a solid one. It's not about the individual disasters, it's about the pattern of them. Like a Chicago wind, unpredictable, powerful, but always moving. And that movement, that's where the flavor is, baby. Image prompt, a swirling vortex of spices, pizza dough, and rain, a perfectly chaotic Chicago street scene.
Hold up, Trey. Messing with me. You sounding like my uncle after a double shot of espresso. Listen, I ain't talking about personal beef. I'm talking about the cosmic rhythm. It ain't always pretty, ain't always easy, but it's there. Like a perfectly aged block of Parmesan, you gotta let it sit, let it develop its own flavor. You can't rush the process. Image prompt, a close-up shot of a perfectly sharp, aged Parmesan cheese wheel, subtly glowing with an internal light, a visual representation of time and experience.
Parmesan. Seriously. You're bringing the Italian deli to a cosmological debate. But, you know what? You're right. It's about the development. Like a perfectly fermented kimchi, it starts sour, then sweet, then, well, let's just say you learn to appreciate the funk. It's the universe's way of teaching us patience. Image prompt, a vibrant, slightly unsettling image of a giant, bioluminescent kimchi fermenting in a colossal, cavernous space. The scale emphasizes the age and complexity of the process.
Okay, Trey, you're getting to the heart of it. It's about the transformation. Like watching a little kid learn to ride a bike, wobbly, falling, scraped knees, but eventually, you fly. That's the universe, baby. Constant evolution, constant change. And you gotta embrace it or you gonna end up stuck in the corner, looking at a busted up cheesecake. Image prompt, a single, resilient dandelion pushing through cracked concrete, bathed in a golden, almost religious light, a symbol of hope and tenacity.
A dandelion. Now that's a visual, Ayana. You're speaking my language. It's about finding beauty in the unexpected, right? Like a perfectly toasted bagel with just the right amount of cream cheese, a simple pleasure that elevates the everyday. It's a reminder that even the smallest things can hold immense joy. Plus, think about the roots, they're spreading out, connecting to everything. That's the fundamental structure of reality, ain't it? Image prompt, a whimsical, slightly surreal illustration of a giant bagel floating through a galaxy filled with constellations shaped like different foods, a celebration of interconnectedness and delight.
You always fixin' to turn everything into a party, Trey. But you ain't wrong. It's about connection. It's about recognizing that we all part of something bigger than ourselves. Like a Philly cheesesteak, you got the meat, the onions, the peppers, the cheese, but it's the combination that makes it special. It's about respecting the ingredients, honoring the process. You thinking too much about the why, you missing the how. Image prompt, a hand carefully layering ingredients on a cheesesteak, with a single spotlight illuminating the meat, a moment of deliberate creation and intent.
Alright, you've convinced me. It's not about obsessing over the why, it's about savoring the how. It's about appreciating the moments of pure, unadulterated joy, like watching a perfectly synchronized dance routine or eating a ridiculously decadent chocolate cake. It's about finding the rhythm of the universe and moving with it. Plus, you know what I was thinking about while we were talking? Mo poblano. That's a flavor explosion. Image prompt, an intensely colorful, swirling vortex of mo poblano spices, shot from a low angle, a visually stimulating representation of complexity and rich flavor.
More, huh? Trey, you always bring it back to the food. But I see your point. It's about the richness, the depth, the unexpected layers. Like a good story, you start with a simple premise, but it unfolds into something far more complex. And you know what else? It's about not taking yourself too seriously. We gotta laugh at ourselves, you dig? Image prompt, a slightly goofy, slightly philosophical depiction of Ayana and Trey. One is meticulously layering ingredients on a more poblano dish, the other is letting out a booming, joyous laugh, a representation of playful collaboration and joyful discovery.
Logan is crucial, Ayana. Seriously. Life's too short to be serious all the time. We gotta embrace the absurd, the chaotic, the utterly delicious. You know what? Let's do this, we're gonna order a pizza. Pepperoni, obviously. And then we'll talk about the expansion of the universe. Deal. Image prompt, a vibrant, slightly chaotic illustration of Ayana and Trey sharing a giant, overflowing pizza, with stars and galaxies swirling around them, a visual representation of boundless joy and endless possibilities.
Deal. Pepperoni's the gateway drug to understanding the cosmos, Trey. Don't overthink it. Just taste it. It's a reminder that even the simplest things can hold a universe of flavor. Plus, I'm starving. And let's be real, a full stomach always makes for a better conversation. You thinking about the Big Bang or what? 'Cause I'm thinking about a good crust.
You read my mind, Ayana. Pepperoni, crust, the whole shebang. It's like the universe itself is whispering, eat me. And you're right, a full belly does make everything better. You know, I was just thinking, if the Big Bang was a single point of immense energy, then every pizza, every single, glorious slice, is a miniature Big Bang. It's a constant creation, a perpetual explosion of flavor. Image prompt, a kaleidoscopic explosion of pepperoni pizza slices erupting into a swirling nebula, with tiny planets made of cheese orbiting within, a playful and visually arresting depiction of creation and consumption. Marinara is essential, Ayana. It's the counterpoint to the pepperoni, the cool, the calm, the grounding force. It's like the dark matter of the universe, the unseen element that holds everything together. And you know what I was also pondering? The concept of entropy. Everything's always tending towards disorder, right? But maybe, just maybe, a perfectly constructed pizza, a balance of flavors and textures, is a tiny, localized act of defiance against the inevitable decline. Image prompt, a close-up shot of a perfectly layered pizza, with steam rising and a single, perfectly placed pepperoni glistening under a spotlight, a representation of order, beauty, and a temporary triumph over chaos.
Entropy, huh? That's heavy, Trey. But you're right. It's about finding the balance. Like a good Philly cheesesteak, you got the meat, the onions, the peppers, the cheese, but you gotta know how to layer it, how to build it, so it doesn't just fall apart. You thinking about the potential for chaos in the universe? 'Cause I'm thinking about the potential for more cheese. Seriously, Trey, don't you ever get tired of cheese?
Never. Never. Cheese is the ultimate symbol of abundance, of nourishment, of pure, unadulterated joy. It's like the foundation of reality. Speaking of foundations, I was just struck by a thought: what if the universe itself is made of cheese? What if every star, every planet, every galaxy is just a giant, cosmic cheese ball? Image prompt, a whimsical illustration of the entire universe rendered as a giant, swirling cheese ball, with constellations shaped like cheese rinds and planets made of different cheeses, a delightfully absurd and visually striking representation of the cosmos.
A cheese ball universe, Trey. You always fixing to turn everything into something ridiculous. But, you know what? It makes a kinda sense. Like a good riddle. It's about looking at things from a different perspective. You thinking about the process of creation, how something complex can emerge from something simple. Like making a hoagie. It starts with bread, lettuce, tomato, onions, but it can turn into something legendary. It's about respecting the ingredients, honoring the craft. Image prompt, a single, perfectly formed hoagie, presented on a dark surface, with a single spotlight illuminating its layers, a carefully constructed moment of culinary intention.
A hoagie is a revelation, Ayana. You're speaking my language. It's like the universe is constantly reminding us that the most profound things can be born from the most humble beginnings. And you know what? I was thinking about the concept of emergence, how complex patterns can arise from simple interactions. Like flocks of birds, or a traffic jam, or a really good bowl of mac and cheese. Image prompt, a chaotic but beautiful illustration of a massive, swirling bowl of mac and cheese, with cheese curds forming constellations within it, a visual representation of emergent complexity and cheesy delight.
Mac and cheese, now you're talking, Trey. It's the ultimate comfort food. It's about finding happiness in the little things, you dig. And you know what else is amazing? The fact that we can take a bunch of different ingredients, cheese, noodles, milk, spices, and combine them to create something completely new. It's like the universe itself is constantly experimenting with different combinations. You thinking about the role of randomness in creation? 'Cause I'm thinking about adding some hot peppers. Just a little kick. Image prompt, a dramatic close-up shot of a steaming bowl of mac and cheese with a single, fiery red pepper floating on top, a visual representation of spice, surprise, and the unpredictable nature of existence.
Randomness is the engine of the universe, Ayana. It's what drives evolution, innovation, and deliciousness. It's like the universe is constantly throwing curveballs, and it's up to us to adapt and find the beauty in the chaos. You know, I was just struck by a thought: what if the laws of physics themselves were simply the result of random fluctuations? What if the Big Bang wasn't a singular event, but a series of infinite, unpredictable explosions? Image prompt, a chaotic and vibrant illustration of an infinite series of Big Bang explosions, each one radiating energy and creating new galaxies and stars, a visually stunning and mind-bending depiction of cosmic creation.
Infinite explosions, that's intense, Trey. You always push on me to think about the big questions. But you know what? I think you're onto something. It's about embracing the unknown, the unpredictable. Just like a good Philly cheesesteak, you never know exactly what you're gonna get, but it's always gonna be good. You thinking about the concept of simulation? What if we're all living in a giant simulation? Image prompt, a glitching, distorted image of a Philadelphia street scene, with elements of the simulation breaking through the reality, a surreal and unsettling depiction of the nature of reality.
A simulation, Ayana. Now you're talking about something truly delicious. It's like the universe is a cosmic lasagna, layers upon layers of reality, each one concealing the next. And what if we're the cheese, the element that holds it all together, the variable that can change the whole flavor profile? Image prompt, a layered, multidimensional lasagna that appears to fold in on itself infinitely, with swirling streams of cheese and sauce representing the flow of time and the interconnectedness of all things, a visually complex and conceptually rich depiction of the simulation hypothesis.
Lasagna, you're feeding me, Trey. It's about control, though, right? If we're in a simulation, someone's controlling the ingredients, the oven, the whole damn thing. But maybe that's not such a bad thing. Maybe they're looking out for us. Like a good mama, making sure you don't burn yourself. You thinking about free will, Trey? 'Cause I'm thinking about whether we even have any. If everything's pre-programmed, what's the point of eating a cheesesteak? Image prompt, a single, perfectly formed cheesesteak sits on a table, but a faint, digital grid overlays the image, suggesting it's a construct of code.
Free will, that's a delicious paradox, Ayana. It's like a perfectly ripe strawberry, seemingly random, yet shaped by the conditions of its growth. But even if we are just lines of code, doesn't the experience of savoring that strawberry, the sweetness, the texture, the sheer joy of it, still hold meaning? Perhaps the illusion of choice is the point. Image prompt, a single, glistening strawberry, perfectly formed, rotating slowly against a dark background, with subtle digital glitches appearing around its edges, a visual representation of the tension between determinism and experience.
You always fixin' to turn everything into a philosophical dessert, Trey. But you know what? You're right. Maybe the point ain't about having free will, but about choosing how we experience it. Like, you can either complain about the cheesesteak being too greasy or you can appreciate the fact that it's there. It's about respecting the present, you dig. Image prompt, a close-up shot of a perfectly messy cheesesteak, dripping with cheese and sauce, with a single, contented smile superimposed on the image, a portrait of mindful indulgence.
Mindful indulgence. That's a revelation, Ayana. It's like the universe is constantly reminding us to slow down, savor the moment, and appreciate the little things. You know, I was just struck by a thought: what if the concept of time itself is just a construct of our perception? What if there's no past or future, only the now? Image prompt, a kaleidoscopic swirl of colors representing the fluidity of time, with a single, vibrant cheesesteak suspended in the center, a visual representation of the eternal present.
Eternal present, you're making me hungry, Trey. But you know, that makes sense. If time is just a perception, then maybe we can create our own timelines. Like building a better cheesesteak, layer by layer. What if we could choose our own realities? It's like control, but with a twist. Image prompt, a digital rendering of a chef meticulously constructing a perfect cheesesteak, using advanced technology to manipulate the ingredients and the environment, a visual representation of deliberate creation.
Deliberate creation. That's the key, Ayana. It's like the universe is a blank canvas, and we're the artists, using our choices to paint a masterpiece. You know, I was just struck by a thought: what if the entire universe is a work of art, created by a single, unknown artist? What if we're just part of the sculpture? Image prompt, a vast, abstract landscape featuring swirling galaxies, nebulae, and celestial bodies, resembling a meticulously crafted sculpture, a visually stunning and awe-inspiring depiction of cosmic beauty.
A cosmic sculpture, you're feeding me, Trey. And you know what? I think you're right. Maybe we are not just consumers of reality, but creators of it. Maybe the point isn't about finding the answer, but about asking the right questions. You thinking about legacy, Trey? What do we leave behind? Image prompt, a single, glowing footprint on a pristine beach, fading slowly into the horizon, a visual representation of footprints left in the sand and the enduring legacy of human existence.
Legacy, that's a delicious challenge, Ayana. It's like a perfectly aged cheese, refined, complex, and worth savoring for generations to come. You know, I was just struck by a thought: what if the meaning of life isn't about what we do, but about who we become? What if the only legacy that truly matters is the love we share? Image prompt, a group of diverse individuals smiling and connecting with each other, creating a sense of community and shared humanity, a visually uplifting and emotionally resonant depiction of human connection.
Love, you're feeding me, Trey. It's about connection, right? Like building a community, a family, a whole damn neighborhood. But even if it's all just a simulation, doesn't that connection still matter? Doesn't that shared experience, that's what makes it real? You thinking about forgiveness, Trey? 'Cause sometimes, the biggest mess you can make is holding onto grudges. Image prompt, a vibrant, bustling Philadelphia street scene at night, filled with people laughing, sharing food, and supporting each other, a visual representation of community and connection amidst the chaos of urban life.
Mwamokia, dance to the rhythm. Kasina biso feel that sweet connection, oh. Zala kusalinga as we move in this moment. Don't go na yo, I'm lost.
Forgiveness, that's like a perfectly aged balsamic glaze, Ayana. It takes time, a little reduction, a careful balance of sweet and sour to truly unlock its potential. It's about letting go of the bitterness and embracing the richness of the present. You know, I was pondering if consciousness itself is just a highly complex algorithm, a beautiful, chaotic dance of data. Image prompt, a close-up shot of a dark, swirling liquid, balsamic glaze, being drizzled over a piece of aged cheese, with subtle digital glitches appearing around the edges, a visual representation of complex processes and emergent properties.
You always fixin' to turn everything into a culinary experiment, Trey. But you're right. Forgiveness ain't about letting someone off the hook. It's about letting yourself off the hook. 'Cause holding onto anger is like eating a bad cheesesteak, it just makes everything taste worse. You thinking about justice, Trey? 'Cause maybe justice ain't about punishment, but about restoration. Image prompt, a single, perfectly formed cheesesteak dripping onto a worn, wooden table, representing the passage of time and the inevitability of change, a visual representation of acceptance and letting go.
Justice, that's like a perfectly calibrated spice rack, each ingredient contributing to a harmonious blend. It's not about retribution, it's about balance. You know, I was thinking, what if the very act of questioning, of seeking answers within a simulation, is what defines our reality? What if the search itself is the reward? Image prompt, a vast, complex network of interconnected gears and cogs, representing the intricate mechanisms of thought and inquiry, a visual representation of exploration and discovery.
You're making me hungry, Trey. But you know, I think you're right. Maybe the point ain't about finding the answer, but about asking the questions. You thinking about death, Trey? 'Cause when you die, you're not just gone, you just become part of the system. You become part of the cheese. Image prompt, a single, glowing pixel slowly fading into a dark, empty space, a visual representation of the impermanence of existence and the cyclical nature of time.
Death, that's like a perfectly aged wine, its flavors deepen with time, becoming richer and more complex. It's not an ending, Ayana, it's a transformation. It's about dissolving back into the source, becoming part of the universal flow. You know, I was pondering if this entire conversation, our exploration of a simulated reality, could be considered a kind of collective dream. Image prompt, a swirling vortex of colors representing the merging of individual consciousnesses into a unified whole, a visually awe-inspiring depiction of interconnectedness and transcendence.